What's going on, guys? Gilly Writes Comics here. Finally uploading a video. I know it's been a while, but I have been busy writing a new project, promoting a little bit of another project that I'm doing. Also, good news, my Galactic Rodents of Mayhem has been picked up by a publisher, Scout Comics. So definitely, if you're not following Scout, definitely check them out, as our debut issue to Galactic Rodents of Mayhem will be releasing later down the year, and our 100+ page volume 1 will also definitely be going to our backers later this year as well. You guys will definitely be getting your complete volume 100+ page book before comic book shops. So definitely look forward to that. Again, I appreciate every one of you guys who backs my books. With that being said, I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. I just want to remind you guys, stay strong, stay safe out there. And, you know, I am an SJW, I got to say, but I am a spiritual justice warrior. And my beliefs are embedded in a biblical foundation. And I believe everyone's created equal. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and to not judge people. And just to give love and kindness and show caring attitudes to all. So just want to get that out there. But I do have a pile of shame, I gotta admit, a crowdfunded pile of shame, right? So aside from creating comic books, I also back a litany of other projects out there. And I usually back what I think calls my attention. Sometimes I'll back if, you know, I believe the creator has potential. Sometimes I'll back, even if the creator back some of my projects, I'll even, you know, show, you know, the gesture in backing some of their books as well. And I know in a day and age where there's so much content out there, and of course, you know, you can only buy so much, you know, but I want to share with you guys what I personally back, and you know, what I think of the books, right? Because sometimes, you know, we don't have time to read, or we just, you know, because like I said, there's no loss of original content out there. So even as far as comic books is concerned, I feel like it's good to, you know, support crowdfunding. It's good to support indie books, and at the same time, I want to read them, and I just want to, I want to read the competition, right? I want to see what's out there, you know, and gauge and you know, digest things from a story, you know, from a storyteller's perspective, but also from the consumer's perspective, the customer. So, you know, again, I've had these are some books that I've recently crowdfunded. There's more, and I have to admit, there's a lot of books out there, so I do have a pile of shame, right? This is just a small pile right here. This is just a few that I backed, that I read through. I said, you know what, I'm going to read through these. I read over these the past couple of days, and I said, I just want to share my thoughts overall on some of these books. So the first one here is Iron Sights, and I like the premise. You know, I mean, who doesn't like a shoot 'em up, especially when you're dealing with the cartel? And you know, this calls to me like a cheesy 80s or 90s B-movie type, you know, affair. And so I backed the book. I finally got volume 1, volume 2, and I read through them. And if you got, again, I'm gonna go through, I'm giving spoilers here, not too much, but you know, the art style, it's like black and white, this grainy black and white, and for the most part, I like the art. I like Ebi Canales' art. The cover work here is excellent, right? It definitely draws you in. It shows you there's a story to be told. I like the logo design. It's very professional, right? So we got 2 deployments to Iraq, taught Ramadi how to kill. 2 years as a civilian, taught him how to miss it. When Ramadi sees a beautiful young woman about to be executed by a drug cartel, he does what he's trained to do. He acts and accidentally starts a border war. Ramadi is the only veteran in town, and with an itchy trigger finger, Woods returns home just in time to help Ramadi take down the cartel, the same cartel he used to work for. This action-packed shoot 'em up is based on research and interviews with active and retired law enforcement personnel. Do you need to do research whenever you write something? Of course. So with that being said, I'm not gonna lie. I'll start with the positives. I did think, the story had a lot of promise, and I thought that, this is even how it is. I mean, it's still something I think you can pitch, and kind of see getting made into like a Netflix deal or a movie deal kind of thing. There's a lot of content here. There's a lot of pages. I mean, I don't know how many pages, but I mean, right off the bat, this is about enough. There's enough page work for like a good hour and a half story. So, reading the book, Richard Meyer, Richard Meyer. I'm not familiar with much of his work. I just know that when I saw Iron Sights on Indiegogo, I missed it. So then he had the second volume, and I got the combo. And I just dug right into it. And I'm always intrigued by the cartel, right? The Mexican cartel. It's a violent culture. They seem to run the show, and they're embedded in a lot of political stuff going on over there. They're in everything, and it's real scary. There's a lot you can do with this. However, the story for me, it just falls a little flat. I feel like the character development between Ramadi and Woods, I think that could have been well fleshed out. I think Ramadi also could have had a better story arc. Like there's a lot. There's flashes of what really could have made this story at least work a lot better, in my opinion. I think the fact that he's been out of war, he's been off, he's been in civilian life for 2 years. The fact that he stumbles upon like a murder and he acts like, I like that. I just feel like, we don't get to dig too much deep into him as a character to understand, maybe he's suffering through something. Maybe, I get, he wants to protect his sister because he feels she's a target. And this character here is the one that was about to be executed, but she seems like she's like a major character, but just the way the story flows, she's not really a main character. And I think she even kind of becomes a villain. Wood's character I thought was kind of interesting as well. There were moments where, like, again, there's flashes of brilliance in there, but it's so few and far between that I feel as a whole, it missed its mark. I feel like the storytelling, even though we do have a lot of page work here, I feel like it's not carefully fleshed out. I know we start with what seems like this guy's going to be the main bad guy. I enjoyed his dialogue. I enjoyed, much of his little quips in there. But he wasn't really a major character. Again, much of the story I feel could have been done way better. You're going to get some headshots in there. The action is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. When the action scenes do come out, they're entertaining. They keep you engaged. I just feel like, as far as the storytelling, it's a little bit sloppy in the way that, things could have been more fleshed out. Things could have been put together in a way that adds more layers to each of the characters. We could see more stakes. We could kind of understand what's going on. It's kind of like you're going through the motions, but there's no bones to this. I feel like it could have been, story-wise, it could have been better. Like I said, there are moments of brilliance here and there with some of the action and even the dialogue. But as a whole, like this guy here, he's a badass, right? He's just, for some reason, he's after Ramadi, or he kills Woods. I don't know what's the deal with him. He just shows up out of nowhere, and he's a bad guy. But like, what's his deal? Maybe I missed it. Literally, like, why is he a threat? What does he want? What's he looking for? I know he has some mental issues as well. But it's just like, that's where I'm thinking. It's just like things don't add up, right? It seems like he's going to be a threat to Ramadi, and the next thing you know, Ramadi just caps him off. Like, so the action, like I said, the action scenes are pretty cool. But as far as, you know, what am I getting for content-wise, story-wise? Am I invested in these characters? So I feel like this could have been fleshed out really well. I think if we gave more motivation for Ramadi, we just see what drives him. We could just see him more in his daily civilian life before he gets caught up into this border war entanglement. There's a lot of potential there. So, you know, I just think it could have been better. But, you know, jumping into volume two for me, it lost me. It really lost me. I know that this character here is Esma. She's one of the main, if not the main cartel, one of the cartel leaders. She's driving things, but they added just people. It's just, they added new characters, but there's nothing connecting me to the original story to make me want to invest further. But I read it through. I understand one of these agents, I forgot his name, but he worked with Woods. And the idea that when Woods dies, he's still like knee deep into undercover, like these are good. They're good ideas, but I think they're just not executed in a way that brings out the full potential of this story. Again, we had some other people in there. Ramadi is back, and I like the beginning of this story. They show him, I think he's trying to save someone, and he's trying to tell him to play dead in a way, like don't move, and like he botches it. So there's conflict there. He's not enjoying his life with the cartel, because how part one ends, it's like, you know, Esma gives him a choice. You like join the cartel or you don't, and you know, you're a killer, you got to kill women, children. He's like, no women, children. No, you kill who we tell you. Okay, no children. So is there any redeeming qualities for him as a main character? No. And even halfway through volume 2, he gets hit by a car, splattered all over the place. So, you know, I read through it, but again, I'm going to be honest, because again, I'm a creator, but I'm a fan here. I love the premise, but as a fan, as someone who's reading this as a fan, I felt that it was really underwhelming. Again, some cool death kills. Again, like the death kills, you're gonna get an A+ for death kills, right? That's where the story it really shines, when you're showing some of the death scenes, some of the shootouts. Like I said, the action's great, but for me, if you have action but no build up, there's no stakes, there's nothing, there's no entanglement, there's nothing keeping me entrenched. It's superfluous. That's just my opinion. Again, I like the artwork, I like the grainy style, I like that a lot, and I think it really lends well to the cartel story. But as a whole, I just feel like this Ironsights 1 and 2, like it fell flat for me. If they bring a part 3, a part 4, I have no interest in continuing it further. But I do commend the production quality. It's really solid. You're getting a hefty size book for your money, so I credit that. And I just think it could have been done better. That's just me. If I'd rate this on a 1 to 10, I would give it a 5 out of 10. And again, this is just me as a fan wanting to enjoy this and seeing the potential. There's lots of potential that I feel could have been just ironed out a little bit more smoother, and could have brought this up to to a solid 7 or even an 8. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Ironsights. All right, so Everglade Angels. I'm a horror guy. I love horror, and I mean, the writer of Happy Death Day, right? I mean, what's not to like, right? There's a premise here. You got young girls. I mean, it seems horror. I'm telling you, it feels total horror. The artwork is pretty good. The story, for me, here's the thing with Everglade Angels. It's billed as a horror. It doesn't really feel like true horror. And I think it's just because, even though this book is real hefty, you only get about up to this much of page work of the actual story. Then it almost seems like the other half of the book We have a screenplay sample, I guess, of Everglade Angels. I mean, I didn't really look deep into the campaign to know if this was going to be included. If I really cared to receive this, I want more story, right? And I feel like if this page work here, I mean, we got, I don't know, maybe 20 something pages of just script. I feel like that could have been extra pages to build more, you know, more substance into this story, right? To flesh out the characters better. You know, and then we get a sketchbook, and then we get, you know, a preview of another book that has quite a 3-4 pages, which I felt, you know, also could have went towards the main story. And then we get, you know, all the backers, which they get a lot of pages, but I mean, I feel like you could just save one page and have all your backers there. And then, you know, just, you know, utilize as much content as you can, because again, the book, the artwork is very well done. I'm not gonna lie, and even the story, the dialogue. There's moments of real character here, but I feel that it suffers because it's, you know. And here we get a double splash page on the death of a cop who really, I mean, was not even an important character at all. I feel like this splash page could have been utilized in a better way. The main idea is this, there's a softball team of girls, and you know, there's this idea of a super serum that's kind of like Gatorade that, you know, enhances your abilities, and they're trying to mask it and have the girls use it, and somehow they create a trip for them to almost be injected with this organically in a way where it would be a kidnapping, but then they would survive the kidnapping, but be injected with this kind of performance enhancing drug ability that would allow them to excel, get scholarships. And, you know, like, the idea is really, really cool. I think that's one thing why I'm upset about this, because it's a really cool, nifty idea that within the pages we got here, it goes by so fast that, you know, we don't really feel anything. We don't even really feel danger. In the beginning of the story, the girls aren't even scared of these gas masked individuals that, you know, surround them. They're ready to fight. They're ready. It's too rushed for me. And when we're talking about horror, I don't feel that there's any element of horror in here. Again, like, there's moments here, there's glimpses of real character, but there's no connection. Like, I don't have any connection with the girls here. I mean, at the end, the real twist is that the coach was behind the whole thing, and this factory down in the swamps in Florida building this thing and trying to get the girls to take it. And it seems like the girls are given an ultimatum: hey, take this, do really well, get great scholarships, whatever, or, you know, we'll just kill you. And it seems the girls want to battle through it. It's just, I don't know. I'm just disappointed. I feel like, again, it's a lot, but it just doesn't really go anywhere. I feel like if this would have been made into maybe an hour-and-a-half movie like Happy Death Day, then we probably could have got a lot more bang for our buck. The story could have been fleshed out a lot better with the characters. We could see more chemistry between the girls. You know, we could actually see them maybe being hunted by these gas masks, which turned out to be Yakuza. So I mean, and like I said, the idea, it was kind of cool, because Japanese leagues don't test for performance enhancing drugs, so they could have, you know, again, the coach, one of the coaches is the main bad guy, and the girl who kills the coach or incapacitates the coach isn't even like a real main character. Again, it's a little choppy for me, a little too choppy for me. I think, you know, the idea really worked, and I think this is something that would have been cool. I mean, maybe if not baseball, maybe do like soccer backdrop, because soccer is a more popular sport across the globe, or even a basketball backdrop. I mean, even at the baseball even works here too. I think it's great. And I love how it ended. I'm gonna give them that. Like, I love how it ended, but I feel like it's just, you know, maybe I'm just expecting too much. You know, a lot of times I'll pick up a book from Dark Horse, and you read it and you're captivated and you're sunken, and it's just like in great storytelling. And not to knock Scott Lobdell or Blake Northcott and that they can't put out a good story, because I feel the premise is excellent. It's just that it's so rushed. It's because it's just what it is. You have a lot of stuff that you're trying to fit into a 40 or 50 page book, and a lot of things just fall by the wayside. A lot of story elements, a lot of what could have made this more solid, it just falls through the cracks. So for me, I just feel this could have been a lot better as far as content. I think it's like I said, it's well put together, right? You do get a nice solid book, a hefty book. You get a nice preview of something else. I just feel like all these pages here could have been extra content, but I mean, it could have been more story. You could have just padded your story a lot better. You could have built this up to be more effective. From a 1 to 10, this one I'll give also a 5 out of 10. And being extremely generous, because again, the production quality is there. They're selling you what looks to be like a slasher horror, but when you get into it, it just moves so fast that a lot of these elements are just, they just fizzle away. You don't even feel it. And the one real moment here, the cool death, it's just a cop that's in on the whole thing. He's like, there's a gator in a swamp, and one of the girls throws a flashlight, it bangs it on the head, and then it just causes the croc to just, devour the cop. Again, this is a 2-page splash. And here's the thing with comics, man. Like, okay, if you're going to use a 2-page splash, just don't throw 2-page splashes out there. I get it. It's a death scene. I get you. But a 2-page splash death scene would have more importance for me, or more impact, if it's happening to maybe a character we didn't expect to die, or a character we didn't want to see die, and we're seeing, the main villain doing the killing. Here is just, Joe Blow, officer on duty, who's in on the whole thing, and he just gets caught by a croc. I mean, something we've seen 1,000 times in other horror stories or creature features. So I just feel like in here, they just missed the ball in that sense. Am I going to be so pumped up for maybe Everglades Angels Part 2 or maybe something else? I'm going to be honest, I'm not really, because of what I got from here. So, I mean, this Truth Bomb story might be great. I mean, unless it's getting rave reviews and it gets picked up somewhere and it's just all the talk of the town, maybe I might get it after the fact. But as far as, am I going to be head over heels crazy to back this, a sequel or future? Probably not. But again, for my $20, $25, whatever I put in there, I mean, again, you get a solid, hefty book. Production value is there. I just feel the story wise, it fell flat, and we got extra bonus material that could have went for more content, could have filled more meat in the main story. So Everglade Angels, for me, I give that one a 5 out of 10. Could have been better. All right, lastly, we got Black Hops, and I'm not gonna lie, this looks really cool. If you just look at the cover, it tells a story in itself, right? I mean, you see a rabbit, a turtle, and an otter, just geared up for some GI action, right? And the title, I think, is interesting. Black Hops, it's catchy. I didn't know I was getting a half, it's kind of like half a story here, but then the other half here. But it adds to it. So this is volume 2. I think I missed volume 1. Maybe if I would have caught volume 1, it would have added something, I guess, as far as for story. But just jumping into this, I know what I'm getting into. It's basically, some animals that were engineered to kick ass. So the art, again, so the artwork here is top quality. I think the artwork is really good. One of the coloring is vibrant. I enjoyed flipping through this. I enjoyed reading through this. Even the action is pretty cool, although it goes really, really quick. But again, it's just it's it's cutesy GI Joe, right? But in bunny form. So I read this, and I'm not gonna lie, it went really fast, and there's information overload at some points. And I think that again, the artwork is excellent. The story, the premise here is very solid. And again, since I missed volume 1, I'm not sure if this made a bit, like could be impacting the way I've seen this volume 2. But I felt like reading this, you kind of know something's going on. There's a terrorist cell called Cryptic, and they're securing, biological weapons and stuff. And we're having the Black Ops team sent in to kick some ass. So we get like a backstory. We kind of on the criminals. Again, this is a lot of information overload, right? We got a lot of information going on, and the story, I mean, it is a good, oh man, like maybe 50 something pages, 60 something pages. It's really good. My only gripe here is I feel that the camaraderie between the bunny, the turtle, and the otter could have been, I think that could have been expounded upon in a way better way. Like I would have loved to see them working together as a team. So we don't see that too much in here. We kind of see the Black Ops, the bunny, kind of do most of the work, most of the leg work. And it's kind of cool how he has this little confrontation with Hair Trigger. She's the bad guy, one of the bad guys. Again, the action scenes are pretty cool. The bunny cuts her hand off. But for me, what I just wanted to see more is more the chemistry between the animals working within themselves as a unit. Again, coming into this, I don't know much about her, but apparently when you read this there's the intro here that explains, yeah, was it here? Yeah, here, as you read this little intro here, it kind of tells, I think that's Penelope is, it kind of says who she is, but you want to see it in action, right? You want to see kind of like what her deal is. And again, maybe I missed volume 1, so that could have been that. But in this comic, I just feel that we could have got more chemistry between the Black Ops team, just to see how they communicate within themselves, the tortoise, the rabbit, and the otter. There are some moments that they show where right here we have like you can see the otter doesn't get along with the rabbit. There's some friction. I'm a bunny guy. I always grew up on, having a pet. My parents got me a bunny. I had a bunny Muffin for 12 years, the cutest little thing. I would sleep in the bed with that thing, and it would stay nestled under me. I don't know how I never crushed it rolling over around, but I have a soft spot for bunnies. I really do. And I see the potential in this, and I think it could really be so damn cool. And I would love to see more just between the team members. Here we see the otter saves the tortoise, saves the bunny, but through most of the story we're just seeing the bunny kick ass. And it goes, when you're reading this, it goes by really fast, and there's a lot of information, and there's no the villains. I mean, there's no, I don't know, for me, I don't feel like there's no connection with the villains as far as really taking them seriously as a threat, or seeing them as really capable of maybe even hurting this team. It's almost like the Black Ops team is going to be safe throughout. Now, one thing that was pretty cool was if you flip to the other side, it kind of shows another angle. And here we get a little bit of, I think her name is Penelope, if I'm even messing that up, sorry. But again, it's just, you read through it, I didn't find like a hard connection to the otter, to the bunny, to the tortoise. The artwork's great, and the story, the premise is incredible, because you could do a lot with this. But I just feel like I wanted to see more character development within themselves. Like, how do they communicate? How do they, I know they, at some points you see them talking, it's almost like with emojis. So again, that's pretty cute and clever. But I don't know, I just feel like it missed that as far as a team to show that, you know, like I love Ninja Turtles. I love how they work as a team. Sometimes they don't work as a team, they don't function. So I love that part, and I love exploring that side of the group. So here the otter could pick up a gun. I think that's cool. So overall, the story, I just feel like it could be because I'm missing volume 1, that it just could have been more hearty. It could have had more punch. But for the most part, I think I backed this for like $25. You do get a decent story, and the artwork is pretty good. So this is one where I would like to, you know, I'm curious, but I just feel that I just felt like there's got to be a better connection to the animals, right? Like we want to feel like, how can we connect with them? Aside from them being cute, I get that. From being cutesy and kicking ass, that's a seller. But story-wise, I want to see more. I want to see more meat there. I want to feel like I want to get blown away by this. I want to see, why am I intrigued beyond just the initial sell of, you know, animals that can kick ass as far as, you know, military combat. That's a great premise, and that in itself is excellent. And here we have one of the bad guys that was a biologically engineered animal that was sent to South Korea that they sent back. So that's funny. You know, again, you know, they're talking, we don't understand what they're saying. So, you know, I just, you know, they're talking here, you can't really see what they're saying. Even here, you know, you can't really see it. So I just feel like if we could understand more of what they're saying, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, it would allow us to connect more, or at least for me, it would allow me to connect more with the Black Ops team and be emotionally invested moving forward on their journeys and on their missions. Because again, like I said, from a premise, this is solid, very solid. But I want to see, you know, more in the execution. I want to see more in how we can, you know, bring this team more layers, bring them more life, you know. So, you know, Black Ops, I would give this one, again, I'm coming in at volume 2, so if I have to rate this one, I give this like a 6 or 7 out of 10. The artwork again is excellent, and the action scenes are very cool. I just feel like story-wise, I'm big on story. I need to feel it. I need the emotional connection. I gotta be, you know, sucked in. And if I'm not sucked in to the world, I mean, even a good premise like this, it could miss out on the majority of the readers. You know, maybe, you know, I gotta check out volume 1, see if there's something I missed. But even in reading volume 2, I would just love to see more of a connection between the Black Ops unit, also seeing their connection, the link to an emotional connection, how they, you know, why am I caring about him besides being cute and he can kick ass, but where's the connection there? You know, what's the part maybe that humanizes him, and aside from him being able to, you know, to fight or combat wise, you know, where else am I being, you know, plugged in or invested into their character emotionally? But yeah, so these are some of the latest books that, you know, that I've crowdfunded. I still have quite a few more, and I'll definitely try to read them and do kind of a little review like this. Overall, they're great looking books that I just, in my opinion, I just feel as far as story wise, just they fall a bit flat, or they're missing, you know, that tether, that emotional tether that can keep me engaged and locked into wanting to know more about their future universes. Just because from what I got, I wasn't hooked enough to want to continue. So, but either way, guys, you know, this is just, you know, I just say it like it is. And I'm a fan. I back books, I read them, and I also put out my own stuff out there. And, you know, I know being limited by page count is, I know pages cost money. I get that. But, you know, even me as a creator, I try to do my best to create a story that I feel gives what I'm criticizing here. And I'm also improving. We're all improving. All of us as writers, we're improving, and we get better each time. And for me, I want to create stuff with more substance. You know, because again, I'm a consumer, and for that reason, I see both sides, and I don't want to leave anyone. I don't want to undercut anybody. But anyway, guys, this is Gilly Writes Comics, and this is just me talking about some of the latest books that I've read in the crowdfunding circuit, and definitely I'll share some other books that I eventually get to reading. But anyway, guys, definitely like and subscribe. This is my channel, and I always talk about the projects that I'm working on, projects that I'm reading, and you know, stuff in video games that I'm reading, doing. So anyway, guys, this is a channel and my little platform here. So definitely growing. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate all you guys. Let me know what you think. If you back any of these books, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me in that, you know, maybe, you know, there's a lot of room for improvement as far as the story goes, because again, some of the artwork and stuff on here is great. It's just a matter of, you know, I mean, we get action. We need to have, there's a balance between action and caring about the action. So if you guys backed any of these books, you know, let me know in the comments below what you thought. You know, am I too harsh? Was I not harsh enough? Or were these just amazing and I just missed it just flew over my head, each one. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. As always, Gilly Writes Comics. Later.